So let's make sure everything's hunky-dory over on the Facebook page, which it should be. Of course, that's what happens out here at Smile Time. When you go live, right?
Yeah, there's no delay between the two, and we should see ourselves exactly. It's there. So I'm just going to share that to my page.
Okay.
And the share's coming up.
Just make sure you get the right one. I need to make sure we have.
Well, it sort of said just now at the top, so hopefully that will be it.
Okay, I'm refreshing right now to see it.
Okay.
You'll notice with my blue shirt, you'll want to look for my, and that's the thing about the new fan pages over at Facebook are a bit disconcerting to me. I don't like what they did to the fan pages, but it is editable. You can go in and there are templates that you can utilize for your Facebook page so that you can update that. Now, I don't even see the post yet.
Yeah, well, Chris has just said, "What's up, guys?" And so,
hey, Ripka. Let me see where it's at.
So we are live.
I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I mean the new Facebook pages. I think keep it simple is well has been my master, especially in writing software. Yeah. And the Facebook pages are getting so complicated.
Well, what I didn't like about there it is. Okay, what I didn't like about the new fan pages is that they reordered everything and put all this pictures and videos and stuff at the top of your posting page. I want my post. I want my last post to be pinned right at the top of my page. That's it. Nothing else. So, welcome to the show, everyone. What do you say? Got my little snowman. Got my little snowman.
Yeah.
This is all inclusive right here. This is all inclusive. And I'm not trying to be PC, Stephen. I'm not, as you probably know me, I'm not a very PC type of person. But, and let me just dump my lower screen here so that people don't have to be intimidated by my lower third. We both observe different faiths, and there are several that we work with regularly that observe different faiths. And yet in this country, there's been this huge thing going on with holidays in this season that this is supposedly a Christian nation, which it's not. It is a nation of free religion, freedom of religion. So it gives everyone the ability to honor those God or gods that they see fit. So in this case, happy holidays is perfect for us because that's what we like to do. My wife just decorated the entire house with snowmen, snow people. Let's say there's snow people everywhere in our house right now. Even though we're Jewish, we celebrate Hanukkah. And I know you're a Christian, so you celebrate Christmas. And give us a little bit about what you're going to be doing this year.
Well, this year is rather special because this year we're going over to Germany, to Stuttgart, to stay with Angelica's mother. And spend 2 weeks, a full 2 weeks, enjoying the lights of a German Christmas, which is a German market and Stollen and lots of delicacies, and of course German beer, German wine. Oh, yeah. So yeah, we're going to really celebrate Christmas, and it's going to be a real family affair. And going to do some sightseeing as well.
Do you drink your beer? Do you drink your beer warm, Stephen?
No.
I can't. I will if it's sat in my hand for too long. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to let a beer go to waste, but I'm not one to go out and drink warm beer straight up. So just wanted to throw that out there to see what you
mean, we're very fortunate in the town that we do live in that we've got a brewery just up the road.
Okay.
Which is larger than a microbrewery, and they make some very decent drinks. And we usually take some over with us to Germany so they know what real beer's like.
Yeah, right. That's true. And we have a lot of good beers. One thing I can say about the beers over here in Michigan in particular, there are several hundred home breweries here in Michigan. And that has been a big thing as of recent. And I'm sure you're aware, if you remember Jonah Pasquale, I believe is his last name. I probably just blistered that. But he used to do a show with a friend of his, although I think he's still doing it, called Craft Beer Show. The Craft Beer Blab is what it used to be called. And he was all about craft beers and getting together. I'm definitely a connoisseur when it comes to beer. I'm not your sit back and drink a bunch of Budweisers type kind of guy. I would rather have a flavorful beer. I used to say, give me a beer you can chew, and I'm all good. So I'm into darks, porters, and ales that are a little stronger in hops and flavor than most people are ready for. But that's my kind of beer.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a local, I call it boutique pub, and they sell local beers and international beers. And you go in there, and a beer, of course, will cost you $10.
Whoa!
And you're drinking beers from all around the world, and they have a beer of the week, which is slightly less than $10. But you don't go in there to drink pints; you're going to taste the nectar.
Oh, well, you're talking a glass this big then for $10. That's
no. You're talking a bottle.
Oh, come on! You don't get a yard of beer. I want a yard of beer if I'm going to pay $10 for it.
I mean, that's the thing about German beer festivals. That's when the glass is so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be fun though. I've had a yard of beer before, but I know there are some folks out there that's the only way they drink it, and that's all good. Let them enjoy it. Me, I'm kind of a connoisseur of the liqueurs and the wines myself.
The wines. Now the wines. There's the thing. There's the thing.
Yes.
For me, a wine has got to be. We're going to single grape. If it's a single grape, then I'm happy. Yeah,
makes sense. I've actually run into some pretty good winemakers blends this year though, and I'm not one to normally go after a blend because I'm one of the guys that prefers like either a Riesling or a Pinot Grigio or maybe a Merlot, but I don't drink I have to have a little bit of alcohol content in my wine if I'm going to drink it, or there's no sense in enjoying it, right? That's why we drink it, isn't it? But it's one of those things I like to savor once a week and kind of hang out with. So that's coming up here toward the end of the week. Well, Stephen, with holidays on the docket, I know you spent some time just a few minutes ago creating, and I don't know if you heard that or not. I apologize why I'm getting a notification here from my Google Calendar.
I'm fine.
Good. I'm glad you didn't hear that because it's basically my Google Calendar telling me it's time for the show, right? That's usually what happens. So I'm going to switch up for just a minute here so I can let everybody see what you put together just before the show here today. We're going to do some layout changes for you today. So don't be surprised if every now and then the camera flips over and I end up somewhere else. In this case, I'm going to stay on the frame, but what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to lower myself down into another position so I can be like Stephen over there in the corner. Look at that. I matched it up pretty good, didn't I?
Pretty good. That's darn good, yeah.
I did what I could to try and emulate Smile Time's 3-window or 4-window feature, which there would normally be 2 more places for windows that I could drag these comments into, like here and here. But I wanted to be able to do a small screen share for you guys today. So what this allows me to do through vMix is let you see the entire stage as it is shown here on screen, and I can show you my desktop on the other. So what we have over on the other page is Stephen Healy over on YouTube, as he did a little overview of what's going on over at BeLive. So we may not play the whole video. Stephen, I know you would you prefer I did you give like a wrap up and everything on that video? I have not seen it myself.
No, you're fine. You can just go with it and then stop when you wish.
Okay, sounds good. So I'm going to let you guys see some of the really cool holiday features that BeLive came out with just the other day.
I have to show you 1 or 2 little things that are happening on BeLive.tv because Christmas is on the way.
Oh, look at that.
You can now see effects. BeLive.tv have created a series of effects which can be shown on the screen as you're actually broadcasting.
Oh, they even move.
Christmas. You can celebrate and you can get the snow to start falling. Now that's a bit heavy.
It's a bit heavy. Oh, you can even change the speed. That's cool.
Gently coming down.
I like that. That's neat.
Gets a little bit faster until we get a blizzard. So I'm going to take it back.
Until we get a blizzard.
Now, there are 5 screens which are available. That's the first one. And then we have the second one.
Very cool.
And I quite like that one. That's quite good. And the comment from Nazim. Does it also get cold? Well, yeah. I mean, in the UK at the moment.
Let me hide myself for a minute.
It's winter time, so it is getting a little bit cold. The third effect is the reindeer, and I just want to say hello to David, and it's good to see you. And basically, I'm just doing this short broadcast to make sure that everything's all right on BeLive TV, and to show you all the latest. Oh, everybody's here. Hello, Jeff.
Jeff
So
Adams
Jeff,
from the Jeff
Nadine,
Adams Show.
and David can't resist the snow, and we're just going to make it snow a little bit harder, and take that off there.
I like that effect. That's cool.
And everybody's saying, "Oh, everybody now." So that's Nazim, Jeff, and David.
Okay, go ahead. Pause
it's
it
a novel idea, isn't it? And it just adds a bit of a seasonal effect.
Absolutely. And what's really cool about that, Stephen, I think that we tend to take for granted is that's a lot of little, whoops, I'm going to have to bring myself back into the picture here. A lot of little one-off technologies that get used to create that effect. That's not, it's an overlay, obviously, like what I'm doing here with vMix, but there's also that snow effect, which is an animation, and so is the overlay, which I thought was kind of neat. So they're probably using GIF images of some sort or another, but to have that built in saves creation time. Don't have to deal with that yourself.
It's true. I mean, there's been some thought and some craft put into that, and I'm sure that we appreciate it. And by Christmas Day, well, no, it's going to be fun. I can see some people making good use of that. I saw it on Jeff's show last night. He's got in the background, he's got the log fire and everything, and the Christmas tree, and yeah, all good.
Oh. And that's awesome. And that's really what it's all about, is giving people the opportunity to share in an experience that they're mutually involved in. And that's one of the things that live brings to the table that we tend to forget at times, is it's not always a one-man show. It's about having who are part of your group or your tribe or your family or whatever it is be part of the show also. So that's pretty cool. So let me
just to go with that point for a moment, the technology that we're using now and have used for the last 12 months, it's going to help bring families together over the season, isn't it? Because families can
only imagine. Can you only imagine how many people who are on either side of the country in different states are going to be Skyping or Facebook Live or Facebook phone call, instant messenger, Instagram just went live the other day.
Yep. Indeed it did, yeah.
I haven't figured out how to use it yet, Stephen, but it's just like Snapchat, basically. If you look at the screen, now you're going to see
Take me off again. Pull me up the screen, and then we can see.
Oh no, that's okay. This way.
Oh, right, okay.
This is just so that I can give you guys an idea rather than change. Well, I guess I can change the layout. I just want to be able to bring it on the camera because you're seeing a reflection of my wall, so you're seeing what's on my screen. But you can see here, it's basically the same button setup that you saw on Snapchat. Okay. And if I swipe out of that or go back to where we were at. You can basically take on one of your friends, and of course, who do you expect to see on live video? But Eileen, always out there somewhere. So very similar in stories. You know, you can simply swipe and get the next story in line that who's ever broadcasting that at that moment. So they are the short redax, which are limited viewing. You only have probably 24 hours to view these footages also, which you can talk about that.
And then they disappear.
Yeah.
What's that all about? It's me as well. I mean, video, I mean, you're capturing a moment.
Yeah.
And if the video disappears, you've lost the moment. I mean, the whole thing since we got cameras and the cameras were invented was to capture a moment and keep that moment. And we now got the ability to keep it on video, store it up in the cloud, and, you know, for it to disappear like that.
I like the fact that they have the stories feature, which allows you to build upon small videos and create a small story out of them. And I know, you know, we watched Joel Comm build several hundred stories over on Snapchat when it first came out with that effect. And it was fun while it lasted. But I haven't, you know, honestly, and I know there's a lot of people, there's a lot of corporations that still use Snapchat because it favors to a certain group of people. The millennials, in fact, are probably the biggest users of Snapchat. And I think they even got a little distraught when the older generation started to use Snapchat, because then it seemed like it started to become commercialized. And I really hope at some point, Stephen, some of these platforms remain non-commercialized, where they don't get infiltrated by marketers and people trying to use it as a money-making tool, that it can just be a social experiment, a social experience, so that we don't always have a sale.
That's what we're both about. It's about social, it's about networking, about talking to people, meeting people, greeting, and just, you know, generally getting on with people rather than brands. So I'm not anti-brand. and we all use brands in our everyday life. But I agree, it would be good to have a medium which was brand free.
Speaking of brands, we always have some brand or another that tends to mess things up in our lives, though, right, Stephen?
Yeah.
It's one particular brand in question just the other day made a perfect example of how that happens, and I'll bring this onto the screen. This was the news over at the BBC the other day. What do Windows do to you guys over there? Knock your connections.
Right. Okay. This is Windows 10, and it seems to be that Windows 10 continually pushes out updates, and most people have got it in automatic. In other words, they don't switch off the automatic, and they get up in the morning and the changes have been made. Simple as. Now,
Yep.
What has happened to some of Virgin's customers, or Virgin are just ones who mentioned it, is that their customers have woken up with an update of Windows 10 and they cannot access the internet.
Oh no.
The system has effectively wiped out the DNS settings so that they cannot access web pages. Yeah, if the domain name server goes down, then your internet access is gone. Your Skype will still work, but your internet browsers, be it Chrome, Firefox, whatever, won't work. And so what the BBC have done with Virgin is they've published a list of things that you can do if this happens to you. But the irony of this is, to get the instructions, you've got to be on the internet. Now you've just been taken off the internet. You can't get onto the internet. So
got to resort to this in the end, right? That's pretty much where you got to go with it.
What both Leland and I have done was to visit the page and then put the page into Evernote, and we've got our copy of it.
Yes. Yep. You can definitely if you see what I'm doing here, I'm right clicking on the page. So if you're familiar and you haven't done a recent update on Windows 10, and you want to make sure that you don't run into this issue of what Stephen mentioned, which is the domain name service is compromised. And basically that's what takes place. That's what transposes the numbers of the internet, which is all how everything is driven, is by IP address. It's that 4-stage number that you see in digit form, or it's relevant all over the place. And they're actually going to be going to V6, I'm sure, before long. And V4 is the standard now, but it won't be long for V6 to show up. And if it can't translate the name from the number, then your www.lelandbest.com or stephenjhealy.com cannot be recognized. So unless you know the number of the site that you want to find, then you're not going to get anywhere. So go ahead and use the Save As button, and what you can do is literally save that web page as an HTML file for viewing off-site, so that you don't have to be on the internet. You can simply view all the structure of the content within that page on your computer after the fact. So good thing to do. All right.
So you go to the BBC site, find that page, and as Leland says, save it to your computer, and then you know what will happen, and what to do if you lose your internet connection. Because sometimes when you get a DNS error, you can just switch the router off and switch it back on again. That, in this particular case, may not work. So this contains instructions on what to do.
Yeah, I've had some issues. I have to be honest, when it comes to Windows 10, which I've been using since pretty much it first came out for the free version when it was announced, not the pre-betas and all that, but I was one of the first ones on board after it was announced to get your free copy. And it took me a little while to think about it. I knew it was out there, but I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and clean up my machine before I do this. And a lot of people, I think the issue that's happened, I know there's still tons of people out there who will not move to Windows 10 because they've heard all the horror stories out there. And they're like, oh, no, I can't do it. I'm afraid I'm going to lose everything. And honestly, part of that problem lies in the fact that people just try to dump Windows 10 onto an existing machine that has not been prepared to accept it. A lot of times they don't go through the requirements, which would be make sure some of your hardware is compatible. Your specific main hardware, like your motherboard, your processor, your sound card, maybe, if you're that interested in that type of information. But the big thing is to clean out some of the garbage. Get rid of all the temporary files. Flush out your caches on your browsers. All those kinds of things that you can do. Run a quick disk defrag utility on your computer before you even let Windows consider installing the update. and you're going to run through a lot better experience. You're not going to have these issues where the computers go through this constant looping of rebooting and hardware not being recognized, because I went pretty well flawless for the most part through 5 machines. And it was after the fact when they did a few of the, like that anniversary update, that was, that was kind of a nightmare for everybody. They sent it out way too soon. So, you know, Windows 10 is here to stay. We just have to admit it. And they'll start to phase out all the other versions. Windows 7 is already to the point where it won't be supported anymore. I'm sure of it before long. Windows 7 Pro will be, I'm sure. But XP's out. There's no support for XP anymore. So if you're still running XP, you're a little behind the times. I can't laugh though, Stephen, because I know people who are still using it. It's like we need to get these people up to date a little bit. So, all right. What else should we talk about today, Stephen? We talked about a lot of things earlier today. Music was one of them.
Do you have your list anywhere? Oh.
Yeah, I do. It's kind of a scratched piece of paper, and I thought we were gonna go over to Instagram, and I thought about what I could have done, but I didn't do a live example. I had to reload my Instagram app just to get that to see it. Ross Brand did an awesome. He's been gone live a couple of times. So those people who are out there like Eileen Turner, is it right? I don't want to get her name. Oh, it is Eileen Smith. I'm sorry. My bad. So Eileen, if you're watching this, I apologize. Zeph Zan has a birthday today. She's taking a break. She decided to close up shop for the year, and she's reorganizing, rebooting, kind of what I've been doing in the background to prepare for 2017. What about you, Stephen? That's kind of what your break.
So happy birthday to Zeph. Yeah, I'm taking a break. It's been quite a busy year with a fantastic end to it, and with the book coming out, which I enjoyed writing and enjoyed working with Fraser. So shout out to Fraser Hay, because he's just been fantastic in the last couple of months. And the book has been published and become a bestseller, and things are going well, and the courses. But I'm looking forward to a break. I will have my tablet with me, but won't be touching a computer for 2 weeks.
Oh, that's good.
So I think that's a sort of you just got to go for it. So I won't be on air between the 21st December and the 4th of Jan. So I'm taking a complete week. I'm going to have pen and paper with me, and I'll be making copious notes and plans for 2017. How about yourself?
Well, we're going to be doing kind of the same. We've got a lot of family to visit and meet up with. I very rarely see my daughter, so I'm going to get a chance to see her the day after Christmas, because my family celebrates Christmas. My parents and my other siblings actually do. And we get together as kind of a joint interfaith effort and it's really not around the whole religious experience anyway. When it comes to our family, we're more of a secular family as far as Christmas goes. So that's just the way it's always been in our family. So we're going to be managing to get together with my son, my daughter, and I have a father that I just recently, over the past few years, my genetic, I gotta say that right. Generic, I get so used to using it in context. My genetic father is someone that I've only recently gotten to meet in the last 5 years. So I'm gonna get together with him. We were supposed to have dinner with him last Sunday or Saturday, and the wife wasn't feeling too well, so we decided to pass on that. And I wanted to get him the opportunity to spend some time with my oldest son, who he's only met once. And now he's going to have the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with his grandson. He really hasn't had an opportunity to do so at all. So, Win support did cease last year. I wasn't aware of that. I don't use 7 anymore, so that's probably why. But thanks for that, John. I appreciate it. I didn't know it ended that soon. I thought 7 was going to be supported for another. I thought it was 2016 that it was going out of service, but I guess time flies, doesn't it, Stephen?
Don't tell me about it. The older you get, the faster it goes. I'm sorry to say. The thing is to enjoy it and enjoy each day. I'll try to within the constraints that are around you. But yeah, sorry.
I posed to Stephen. No, I didn't mean to cut you off there, Stephen. I know what it comes down to is it kind of brings this round circle as to how do we get to know people better at the end of the year. And that was kind of the premise of the show. We didn't bring a lot of things out as topics because we kind of wanted to just sit down and be ourselves and let you folks see us for who we are rather than telling story after story after story from a web page.
Yeah.
And Stephen and I came to realize today how much of a rock and roll fan Stephen is today, which was something I didn't realize before. So,
I was the first ever record I bought was a record called "I Want to Hold Your Hand" by the Beatles.
I want to hold your hand.
That's the one.
Yeah.
You do the singing, I'll just do the trumpet.
It's but, the karaoke DJing.
Start rock and roll from Presley through to the current day. That's my genre. Cool. I listen to classical as well, but the rock and roll, and we were just talking about this. You used to DJ.
Yeah, I DJ'd for about 3 years in Saginaw, Michigan, as offshoot from what I was doing, years ago in video and production with cable. But it was something that just fell into my lap. I was going through a divorce at the time in 2006. Mm-hmm. And I was sitting home alone in a rental home and decided, you know what, I just got to go out and do something. I got to meet some new people. So I went out to this little bowling alley / pub. It was like a college dorm experience from SVSU, which is Saginaw Valley State University. And it was kind of interesting because the first gentleman I spoke with that day was the DJ. And we hit it off right away. We became good friends. Dan Booth is his name. If he's out there watching this by any chance, he's one of my friends on Facebook. And it wasn't long. I did my first song was "Devil Went Down to Georgia" by Charlie Daniels. And I'm a big country fan also, but my genre goes back to high school, like Judas Priest, Black Sabbath.
Oh yes.
Molly Hatchet. One of my good buddies is a secondary drummer for Molly Hatchet in Florida. So that was always in my blood, was the harder. I wasn't a headbanger, but I was into the loud and heavy stuff. So after that 3-year experience, it was just Dan said, you know what, you need to be a DJ. And so we had a lot of fun karaoke DJing around Saginaw. And it's one of the bigger cities in the area. It's a tri-city. It's like Saginaw, Bay City, and Flint are tri-cities. And they're very close to each other. So you get an enormous gamut of people from all over that part of the state showing up. And we just had a ball. It was so much fun. So, and speaking of that, Stephen, I got a site for you. If I know you mentioned your son is a guitarist, right?
Yes, my son is a guitarist, and Angelica's son is a guitarist too.
Oh, really?
So there you are. I mean, I'm not musical. Angelica's musical, but I'm not. But my son is. So yes.
Oh, okay. Well, if you are somewhat of the music type and you want to check out a site, there's a little site out there. I'm not going to share this on the screen real quick just so people can see this. This is how we tend to bring topics of discussion into the foray. It's called, if I can remember now, SingSnap.com. And if you want to go check it out, I'm going to reduce the window down here rather than go into another window myself. You should be able to see this on the screen. Okay, Stephen,
yep.
Can you?
Yeah, can. Yep.
This is one of those places. Well, here, let me just shrink this down just a hair so y'all can see this. This is one of those communities where you can go out and you can pay as little as $5 for the week to just come out here.
Okay.
And there are tens of thousands of songs on this place. You can sing and record them and actually share them with friends. You can watch and listen and rate the singers out there on SingSnap. So just to give you a quick overview, this will give you a rundown of how this works.
Magic and music of SingSnap. The SingSnap website turns your computer into a real karaoke machine. With over 30,000 top quality music tracks and new songs added every week, you will never run out of songs to sing. SingSnap is the world's largest online karaoke community. Chat with members, send messages, and leave comments. Add a webcam and star in your own music video. SingSnap lets you sing a duet with members around the way or around the world. Take part in contests and challenges. These events are a great way to meet new friends and have a ton of fun in the process. Our team of volunteers are available to point you in the right direction. So what are you waiting for? Sign up now and be amazed by the online karaoke experience.
Wow.
So just one of those things that not a lot of people know about, but it's another live streaming experience to be had. So I just wanted to share that with folks out there if they haven't seen this before. Take a look at it and check it out.
Yeah, I'll certainly take a look at that and maybe we'll revisit it over Christmas. I can see.
And when it comes to video, obviously one of the first things we think about, Stephen, is television, right? And
Oh yeah, it is.
you know, right now, I brought up the fact of the singing, and I asked Stephen earlier. I said, "So, have you been watching The Voice?" And he says, "Well, I mentioned that Billy Gilmore, if I can remember his name now, Billy Gilmore, Billy Gilman, I believe, is one of the top contenders. They're down to the last four now." And Stephen says, "Well, we have a different version over here," and I was like, "Duh, of course you do."
Yeah, that's something we don't think about, do we?
No, we seem to imply that, you know, everybody's watching the same thing on TV nowadays, but that's not really the case, is it?
The biggest problem we have, we'll get into it in a moment, is licensing. But back to the main proposition is that television does go back and forth across the Atlantic. I mean, we watch most of the major series, and I said to you, I was watching an episode of CSI last night from 2004. And we've just seen it it's just a repeat on our channels as well. But sort of, there is a crossing of dramas from one side of the channel to the other, because you received Doctor Who, I would think.
Yeah, but I'm not a fan. I don't watch it, so I wouldn't know where and when to find it. I know it's broadcast somewhere out here on one of the bigger channels. So I'm not familiar with where or when, but I think you're right. And you mentioned CSI. What other types of shows that you know of are definitely Americanized or have come from American television networks that you guys see regularly? Because the only thing I can think of that comes from the UK is like Downton Abbey. I mean, honestly, what else is broadcast normally, like when your major networks play? What are some of your who are some of your big actors and some of the big network shows that take place on British television? Do you have a lineup there?
UK side? Yeah, and John's just saying The Voice is helping us here. Originally came from Holland. It's a Dutch concept.
Cool. I didn't know.
USA. We're fortunate in having the BBC, who really are the experts when it comes to historical dramas. And you mentioned one there. We've got historical dramas because the history, we can go back to Henry VIII. I mean, there's virtually a new program about Henry VIII every couple of years. But from our side of the pond, I would think that Inspector Morse.
Oh, okay.
Does that ring in? Yeah. Detective. A lot of detective shows in the UK, a lot of historical shows, some historical as well. Some of our comedy crosses over. We can go as far back as Monty Python.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. And Monty Python, I've always been a big fan of, and similar to that, Benny Hill and those types of other comedy shows that are coming from over across the pond. I'm apologizing. I'm seeing some weird freaking out going on with my green screen chroma key effect right now. It seems to have lost its ability to perform properly. So if you guys see some weird glitching on my background screens, it's because of the software I'm using, most likely.
Indeed.
Not sure.
But you've got public television, which airs BBC programs, don't you?
Yes, it does. And that's one of those things that I'm an avid fan of public television because I was involved with public television for a while as a producer over at the local cable company. So I know the struggles that, you know, public television networks go through just to try and create content. You know, they rely primarily on donations. In your case, you have a fee that you have to pay every year to watch television, right?
That's right. It's an annual television license.
Yes.
Which goes to fund the BBC.
Okay. Very cool.
And you cannot watch television without a license. You'll be fined. And now the BBC has the iPlayer, which is sort of the replays of all the shows, and you cannot watch the replays without a license. But you're not funded that way.
No, that's usually a regular occurrence. All you get is replays around here. It's a rerun type of country over here. We see reruns on several networks, actually. Like one of my favorite shows, The Big Bang, is broadcast on TBS, and it's also broadcast on CBS. So Turner Broadcasting System has had the rights to replay the reruns from previous seasons, and then, you know, there's always the opportunity to go over to Netflix if you wanted to. And I would assume you guys have reach the ability, you guys can access Netflix from there through the
Oh, yeah.
internet at any time. So, that's really the gap separator right there, is the internet.
Yeah.
And if you haven't noticed, there's another site that I brought up once on a previous show called Sell on TV. And anyone out there might want to take a look at this also. It's a broadcast provider, and this is one way, Stephen, that you guys would be able to get your hands on some of the networks over here in the US in a relatively simple way. So if you go check out sellontv.com, CELLON.TV, and I'll share that screen over here behind me so that you guys can see this. I'm going to go ahead and give you a quick rundown of how this can work by changing the screens for just a second.
Okay, sure, go for it.
All right. So this is Cellon, and basically they have a couple of different ways to do this. They have a box that you can order for $100, or you can simply use, like I used the Roku to install their app, their Cellon TV app. We have a Roku over here. We don't have network television broadcast in with a antenna, which we could do for free in HD. But we rely on our cable provider to provide us internet, and then we use the apps through the Roku to Cellon was one we tried out. I have not actually used it that much just yet, but what they have available, here's their player, okay? They're considering doing an add-on for gaming also within this platform. But the networks that are available on their channel are pretty astounding. For $25 a month, you can get 60 networks, okay? Which include places like A&E, ABC, CNBC, all of our major networks like Fox, ESPN, HGTV, Fox, FX, Bravo, you name it. They're all listed here on this page, and you can kind of see where that goes. I had a pretty good experience with them. They also have live TV with a menu similar to what you would find through your local cable company, but they don't give you the on-demand option, okay? So you basically, everything is live television. You have to take it for what it is. I know they're working on other features that would allow you to utilize on the back end aspects for possibly recording through the box, for having that replay ability, but currently that's not the case. So just something to think about. And I thought it was worth my experience. I spent about a month on the system to try it out and see how it did, but definitely worth the effort.
I think the other thing as well is that we're not watching as much television as we used to.
No, I don't. That's for sure.
With the internet,
I just know.
And the mobiles. I mean, it's constantly changing, and mobiles and tablets and PCs are taking over in terms of video watching. I mean, that's the thing that we've noticed this year, isn't it? The growth of live video.
Oh yeah. And even not only the live, there are still people taking on the second, version of that, which is the replay. I think the fact that it was just recently played is enough of an incentive for people to come watch. I think if somebody says, I just like last night, for instance, Ross Brand interviewed Nazim on his live stream universe page last night using Blue Jeans. And the performance was fantastic. They did a great show last night, but I missed the live version. I was about 20 minutes late. So I just clicked play and I watched the rerun and enjoyed for the next hour a show that I was very involved with. I got to watch every moment of it. And it was because I had a little bit of control over it to say, cool, now I can watch this. And I know they were just live a few minutes ago. So.
And that's, as you said, the value is in the replay because of the videos that we're doing. There's a lot of replay of the video after the event, because when we go live, it's a ton of our choosing. We haven't taken a poll and said, when would you like to see us? We've sort of fit our shows into our own schedule, and people can pick the replays into their schedules. And I think that's the key, that the replay needs to be there, which brings us back to earlier Instagram Live, which disappears. Anyway, never mind.
Yeah, well, no, that's not, I think it's a good point, because Stephen, you and I both run YouTube channels. And I think many people need to understand that, like we just showed a moment ago, Stephen was able to go out onto his channel, record a video of the effects for Be Live TV, and that replay was utilized even here on the show as a means to incorporate content within a live broadcast. So not only that, but people are going to go back to that video that you created, and they're going to see what you presented, and that's going to be their means to learn what's out there as an opportunity. So for myself, you can find my YouTube channel out at bestatyoutube.com. I've used a domain name to capture the link out to YouTube. And Stephen, you can find yourself out there. Let's get a link in here. I think you shared one with me earlier.
There are two ways to find me. The direct link will be in the show notes afterwards. But if you just type in, if you type in Stephen Smile Time, you'll find me.
Oh, okay. There you go.
In the YouTube search. So that's basically what I found is all the shows that we've been doing over this is show 21. So we've been on air 22, 23 weeks. All have the tags in, which is Leland Smile Time and Stephen Smile Time. So if you type in any of those, you will find us on YouTube. And if you type in Leland Across the Pond or Stephen Across the Pond in Google, you'll find us as well. In fact, if you do that, you'll find all 21 episodes, and you can rewatch them anytime. If you don't know what to do, not Christmas Day, obviously, Boxing Day.
Yeah.
If you've got a bit of spare time, then you can watch a couple of our shows.
Yeah, and Kimberly makes the perfect point that show replays are very powerful. And that's honestly, if you're doing broadcasting of any kind and you're doing live shows, if you're not considering the fact that they live on in perpetuity, that the reason for your show is to get a message across, and that if you don't, one, motivate yourself enough to promote the show before it takes place, nobody's going to see it except for those who happen to glance by it when it went through a Facebook feed or something of that nature. Two, you have to know that what you're doing live is being recorded somewhere. And a lot of times we go on faith with that, Stephen. We hope that the recording is going to turn out wherever it may be. We're looking very forward to the VOD feature, or video on demand feature, here on Smile Time, where we will have all the recordings that we've made that are available on the back end already, just not available to our public viewing audience. So that's going to be a feature coming out very soon that we're looking in advance future to. Just can't wait. I mean, I'm always pushing them for that.
If we'd had a wish list at the beginning of this year, it's been mostly fulfilled, because the systems that we're using currently now are more stable and reliable than they've been, and we can only look forward to increases in reliability and stability next year.
Yes, that's one of my favorite things to look forward to in 2017 is the fact that this will finally lock down. We'll see the big players advance, and I gave my predictions. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag. I gave my predictions to Ross Brand earlier in the month, and Ross is working on an article right now that he should be posting anytime before the end of the month, which will be those predictions from the live streamers who have been participating in the growth of all these platforms over the last year or so. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. Shout out to Ross, because we normally do a shout out to Ross for promoting all our shows. And that's the other thing that's happened over the years, that we've built a network of friends across all the platforms.
And one of the biggest ways to develop friendships is to get them together in one location. And if you are a live streamer, one of the best ways to create that atmosphere is to form a group. So if you have not done so yourself or have not become a part of a group, Stephen has recently incorporated one into his model, and I have one for those people I work privately with, but I haven't actually opened up a public type of forum for that purpose just yet, but I will be in the future with BCB Live and the workshops that I have planned for 2017. So Stephen, where do we find your group for those people that want to get involved with you?
Right, the group is Live Video Streaming 2017, and the hashtag is LVS17. If you search for that on Facebook, you'll find us. So LVS17, and you'll find the group. The group is open to everybody. And if you've any interest in live broadcasting, you'll find myself and Leland and Jonathan Tripp and a whole host of people already there. And we're there to help you go live in 2017. So we've gathered the expertise, and it's all in one place, and we can help each other, promote each other's shows, and look forward to 2017 and networking and getting to know even more people and help more people.
And I'll be honest, I mean, I'm probably a member of 6 different live streaming groups. Whether I wanted to be a part of them or not, it was I've been invited into groups. There are a lot of open public groups out there. Ones from the former blabbers up to live streamers who just really like what they see sometimes in your content. They want to create their own group, so they invite you into the group. And honestly, that's one of the things about Facebook I've never been a big fan of, where you can simply invite people in haphazardly with.
I sent out 70 personal invitations.
Yes, that's the way to do it.
I didn't want to join everybody. I just sent out the invitations, and people have come along, and they're inviting people as well. And I hope to see more of that. People inviting people into groups personally. So if you've got friends who would benefit, then bring them into the group and tell them to watch our show. Because the thing about the group, and this is a point, Leland and I are across the pond. We've been across the pond for 21 weeks and thoroughly enjoyed ourselves. But the groups are UK and USA and spreading out across Europe and around to Australia. So it's sort of global spread, and really looking forward to that moving forward.
Oh yeah, and I know as things get more involved and people really start to focus on one platform or another. Stephen and I, for Across the Pond, have brought that show specifically to Smile Time. We've tried put every platform out there, folks. Don't get me wrong. We've put our hands and dipped our feet into pretty much every pond available. And at some point, sooner or later, unless that's your business model. Let's say you want to teach people, like Stephen does, about live streaming and shows them how to use all these different platforms, then that's good. You can go play with all these different platforms. But if you're just doing a show specific to a particular niche and you want to advance your popularity within that niche, then you're best to just find home in one place, sit tight, broadcast your pants off until you can't broadcast anymore from that one location. Get your recordings in hand, upload them to YouTube, get the keywording, no SEO, get to know your SEO, because if people can't find your show, they're never going to see it. So you do need to play a little bit with the SEO and keyword tagging and things of that nature. If you don't add a hashtag to your show, like we try to hashtag Across the Pond, but I don't think we do it enough, Stephen. We really need to try a little harder in that regard.
Okay. Well, I mean, all for trying harder in 2017.
We've got big plans.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think we should do in 2017, Stephen? I threw and I would love for the audience to participate in that going forward. Tell us, what do you want to see? Tell us.
Yeah. Indeed.
We have an opportunity here.
We've got our own ideas. I mean, what would be good is if with each show we brought a guest in.
Yeah.
So if you want to volunteer to be a guest, just say. Yeah.
And we can open that up right now because we're coming toward the last 10 minutes of the show. If anyone would like to come.
Okay. Shall we join? If John is, are you still here, John? If John is still here, can we unite across the pond with Loving for Britain? That's the question.
There you go. I'm going to go to a black screen here, Stephen. I think I'm I'm going to put my Happy Holidays logo back up again. Get that browser window back behind me. I actually had my email window open earlier, so I hope nobody was reading my email. But you never know. So it's been a great year, Stephen. It's been a pleasure, honestly, because we just met back in November of 2015 in this live stream environment, and it's now come around a full year as of last November, and now we're coming into another holiday season, which will be rounding out the year of 2016. So I want to thank you for being a part of that experience, because it was definitely enjoyable, and we got to know a lot about each other, even though I didn't know you loved rock and roll so much.
Well, we've also today didn't know that we both played chess, so I can see one of the chess games coming in 2017. It's been a pleasure. We're chatting together each week, and we're going to do that in 2017 with more focus and with guests, and sharing what happens both sides of the pond, and getting to know you and getting to know each other, and it's going to be exciting times ahead.
Yeah, I think we're going to live up to our own recommendations, which is we're going to get an intro and an outro together, maybe a small, teaser clip video that people will recognize Across the Pond with, so that when we do our promotions, which we haven't. I mean, honestly, we just come out here to share some time together, and that's been our experience, and it's starting to grow. We're starting to see the viewership on this show, which we weren't really looking for any huge viewership, but now that we've recognized it has potential to be something different than what everyone else is doing. We're just here to share. I want to know more about the UK. I want to know more about the differences of the UK and the US. And that's where I think our focus is going to be going into 2017, so that I know that he doesn't watch The Voice that I watch over in the US, so that I know what bands are playing over in the UK.
Yep.
What their favorite TV shows are, who their television stars are. Because I know there's some wonderful television stars over in the UK, and I don't watch a lot of TV, but I like good quality television. So
okay,
that's what I'm looking for.
what we could do, just a thought, just brainstorming here, is we could sort of go for the top 10 UK actors, the top 10 American actors, and see how many we actually know.
Right?
Yeah.
I
And the same with cities and a whole range of things. So we can do a Letterman, and we can do top 10s. I don't know, just an idea.
Oh, we could do that like once a week. And this is how shows form, people. I mean, we don't have a script. We don't sit down with exact topics. Stephen shares 3 topics with me before we start. I usually don't have anything ready before we start. I'm kind of impromptu, going back to the nothing show that I used to do, which was just that. I would go live and I didn't care what was going on. So Chrome's running out of memory and shutting down. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, John. That's too bad. So I guess John's not going to be joining us on the show today.
All right.
He's running out of memory.
Anyway, thanks for your help today, John. Sorry that we've crashed Chrome.
I guess we
not
did.
necessarily yours, but Chrome's crashed.
So I suppose we can leave it at that, Stephen. I don't think anyone else here is prepared to go on to camera. But again, I hope you and your family enjoy your holiday as well as possible, and that your experience going into 2017 is a very blessed and fruitful one. So good luck.
And thank you. And I wish you and your family and our friends a wonderful holiday season. And we look forward to seeing you in 2017. May you get a rest over the holiday period, and join us renewed in 2017 as we are.
That's right.
So
and that's it.
Stephen in Wiltshire.
And Leland from Michigan over in the little town of Corunna on the Shiawassee River. We'll see you next year. Bye, everybody.
Bye.